Just resetting this screen so that it's right side up and not upside down. Uh-oh, 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 uh-oh. Okay. I'm gonna pause this for a second. So let me just turn it down. And there's one more thing I need to grab, but I wanted to start on time because I feel like there's always something. There's always something. Okay. Now I am back. Except for I want to start with my warm-up, the rock stepper, 5 minutes, and for me, I have to have something on my feet in order to be able to do it. It's not comfortable to do without something, so I'm gonna grab something to put on my feet. I don't know what yet. What is a good something? Should I just put on socks? I don't even know if you guys can hear me. I feel like my place is small enough that you can hear me. I was kind of behind a doorway, so maybe not. Anywho, let me put these socks on, and then I will get started. 5 minutes with the rock stepper. Hopefully this angle is good. I was looking at my VOD from like a stream or two ago, and it was like crooked, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was annoyed looking at it. So apologies to anybody that felt the same way. If you saw that, hopefully it's not like that now. It looks straight for me because that's all I have, right? There's no like judge. I mean, I guess I could use this bench. That's pretty lined up, but yeah, when I looked at it later, I was like, oh my gosh. Anyways, today's plan is going to be a vinyasa day. I'll talk more as I get started about that, but I'm just gonna do a little bit of combo of, sorry, my whole ass was out just now. A little combo of stretching because I didn't really do a very good mobility Monday. I just did like a small amount of stretching, and then I decided to go ride my bike, which no regrets there. I forget how much I like riding my bike because at the end of the season, it kind of isn't fun when you're like out riding and then you're suddenly like freezing your ass off, and you know the only way home is to like continue to be cold, you know, and there's nothing you can do about it. And you get to that point where you're like, well, how much is an Uber? Because I could totally put my bike in the back of the truck. But yeah, when you get to that point, it's kind of like when if you've ever been in a Jeep before and you get stuck with the top off and it gets cold. And it's like you literally have no choice. And you can drive faster, sure, but that's just gonna make it more cold. Yeah. It's low tide right now. That's what I named the stream. One of my favorite parts about living close to the beach. Because I don't know how to follow the tides. I could easily look it up and like memorize it. But like I kind of just like the surprise of going to the beach and being like, oh shit, it's low tide. So it's been low tide a couple times the last couple days, and it's been nice. I don't know. It's kind of like the beach where I live, because there's a couple of different beaches, but most of them are the same in that they are rocks kind of like if you've ever been to the beach in Nice. Lots of rocks. And like it's nice when you want to stay clean. Like for my dog, I can take her to the beach. I don't have to worry about her getting sand in her eyes or like tracking a bunch of sand in the car and all of that. But it's not comfortable to like lay on or like play on, you know, volleyball and shit like that. It's pretty much a no-go when there's that many rocks. So when it's low tide, it's actually sand, and it kind of changes the atmosphere of the beach. Because for a very small window, you get access that you don't normally have, which makes it feel like it's a totally different beach. So people will come down and they'll have like their beach chairs, you know, and they'll be out in like one of the little islands of sand that will arise from the low tide. And even though you're not supposed to have your dogs, most people have their dogs out there. I remember one time I was out there and there was this giant fucking eagle. I mean, massive eagle. And there was a dog. I want to say it was a lab. But honestly, can't remember. I just remember thinking, like, that's a pretty big dog. And it was, like, the same size as the dog. And I was like, my dog is small enough. Or she's had a hawk try and, like, run up on her before. So I was like, I don't want my dog to get too close to the eagle because, you know, as much as I trust that the eagle's not going to be vicious, like, it's still a predator. If it thinks my dog is easy prey, you know. But yeah, so that happened before. But it's just like catching orcas on the beach. Like a lot of people go their whole lives without ever seeing an orca. But in Seattle, all you have to do is like be outside on a lucky day. It's like, people take it for granted. I know I do. But, you know, when you remember days like today to go down and enjoy the low tide, I'll probably head back down. Honestly, I didn't want to stream just because I really did want to stay at the beach. Like, I was about ready to just like pass out listening to the waves. But then I was thinking to myself, like, you know, I usually just come home and do the same thing, only not with the waves. I have a debate, you know, like, I want to listen to my body, and like, I had, you know, I was grounding and all that stuff. But having my commitment with stream and trying to have somewhat of a routine, and because the beach is literally like 5 minutes away, if that, I can just go back. But I do have a surprise. I might pull it out on stream, I might not, haven't decided. Yeah, maybe. We'll see how I feel at the end of stream. I'm definitely not going to pull it out right now because it'd be too much. But it is a big, big, big thing for me. And I hopefully will have an impact on the stream. Positive impact on the stream. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to be doing a vinyasa flow. I'll talk a little bit about what my surprise is without revealing it, hopefully, and the significance of what I'm doing now, and just like my vision. If you've ever visited my website, and granted, I've had my website for years, because I went from doing like fun like retail shit and like festival shit to like trying to be more wellness based. So it's kind of like floated, but like my ultimate goal has always been to be able to do like wellness retreats, which, you know, as a teacher, putting together like activities and like groups and things like that is like, it comes really easy to me. But being able to do it on like a full domain of like, oh, I don't have to worry about like AIDS age or location or, you know, parents or anything like that. Like just free reign of like, this is what the activity is and like this is the goal and like this is how it's gonna roll. I think it would be really cool, especially if it's like, you know, wellness based because everybody wins. Um, but that entails like a lot of moving parts, right? Like especially like a retreat, it's not something you just do for like a few hours and then you go home. Like it's like an immersive like 24-hour plus thing. Um, so yeah, there's like the movement aspect has always been to me more yoga based. Although I really like the idea of like free movement and like relay style activities, like especially for like group bonding and like team building type things. Because when I used to work for Microsoft, we had like, you know, those people, they come in and they're supposed to like help you like build a team and like make your team more cohesive and like bond more. And I always just wondered like, how did those people get those jobs? Because like, no offense to any of them, but like they weren't doing anything that like a fucking movie wouldn't have done. Like we could have all just like went to a movie together and we would have bonded just as well, you know. But yeah, so I was always just like critiquing them in my head of like, yeah, like I could do this better. But like I said, without the restrictions of even it being like corporate. So, doing vinyasa, doing yoga on the beach, in my opinion, because it incorporates grounding and like bringing in like the elements, adds more of a holistic approach. And so I'm trying to get more into building flows and getting used to like putting in flows and not just like doing only what my body is gravitating towards. But yeah, let's get started. I'm not gonna have the sound down like I said because before it just wasn't working. Okay, so she's just sitting, rolling shoulders, rolling head. I didn't mean to say rolling head, but then I did. So you either take advantage of that extra ab exercise or you don't. All I know is it was funny to me. Ooh. Sometimes the simplest movements that you forget to do end up having like a big impact. So I haven't rolled my neck and that feels weird to say. She's probably doing like a breathing technique while she's doing this. That's what I would be doing. Like, honestly, if I was doing this on the water, because I always like the idea of doing things on the water, like, obviously, I would be moving with the sounds of the wave. So, like, whenever the wave comes in, you breathe in, and the wave pushes out, you breathe out, right? Like, breathing in, like, becoming one with the sounds near you. Because also, like, I'm not like a super vacationer. Like, I like to consider myself a traveler, if anything, but that's like being very generous because I haven't really traveled very much. But from time to time, I've gone on vacations and they have, you know, those group exercises. They'll give you like an agenda for the week or something, and they're like, oh, these are the activities you can sign up for, or you can attend, and, you know, so that way you can have it. And there's always like different, you know, like exercise groups and shit, and they'll be like, oh, we're gonna be doing like yoga in this bodega, like whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? And that would be like a really cool job to me. The only problem is those places typically they will do a like in-house. So like you have to work for the hotel and then the hotel just hires you to like do a specific class, or they hire you to do like 4 different kinds of classes that you don't really have any creative control over. But then I was thinking, like, you know, they have like cruises, right? If you've ever gone on a cruise line, they typically travel to the same places over and over again. And people, there's regulars. Like there are people that go on cruises like every year or like every season. And so they go on do different activities, and a lot of people just want to be able to like get up and like move around because you know they're like inside, like not able to like run and shit like that. So to have like an activity that people can do when they get off the cruise that's like still in the elements, so they're enjoying like the outdoors but like moving their body, you know. Because honestly, that's what I like when I go somewhere. Like, I like the idea of being like, oh, like I'm in this place, I'm taking in the scenery, I'm moving around, you know, but like I'm also not like exhausting myself to the point where, you know, I when I get back, I'm gonna pass out or like I might not make it back because I'm gonna be too far gone, you know, or whatever the case may be. I can't say I'm that adventurous, but there have been times where like you don't really know how far you're gonna go, and then you're like, shit, like did I go too far? Will I make it back in time? So just having those little safe things you can do, like, oh, this is gonna be like an activity near the water. It's being hosted by this like group. I did that shit when I went to the Bahamas. These people were just like literally renting out their jet skis. Just like some regular ass people. And they're like, yeah, we know you guys are on the cruise. But if you give us money, you can come take our jet skis out. You know? It would have been really easy money. And we just wanted something to do for a little bit. You know? Just me and some random fucking dude that I just happened to be paired up with. I didn't even know the guy. But yeah, imagine instead of it being jet skis, it was like a beach yoga or something. And you just stumbled upon it. It's like, oh, you're already gonna be chilling on the beach, but you didn't really bring like beach shit, or you don't want to have to carry beach shit, you know. And you get there and there's somebody that's got like cabanas and like mats and all that shit, and they're just like, oh yeah, I'm leading a yoga class. That's kind of what I want to do. Do you see why that wouldn't be as successful in Seattle? For like half the year, it's too cold to just set up outside and expect people to want to be out there. But I could do this shit all day. And honestly, like, the weird part about it is this is like totally just how life is in Australia. Like, when I very first moved to Australia, I mean, I've told the story before, like how I walked to the beach and I could see like the scenery and everything, but there were people like doing like yoga and like tai chi and shit just like in the park. And they weren't like I think one of them was a group that like you technically had to pay to like join or whatever. But a lot of people would just like join in with each other, like just strangers. And like I think I told you guys, like we'd have drum circles every Thursday, and there would be like hundreds of people. And it would literally be like the same people and new people. Like that was just like a thing, and it's like people would pay money to attend that here in Seattle. It would become a riot. Like people, it would be like it would be like Capitol Hill block party. Like it would instantly become like overran and disgusting. trying. I'm thinking about it. I just don't know where to go. I was always thinking like Florida would be cool, but like, man, Florida's got some shady shit going on in Florida. I'm not trying to be tied to no trafficking. Look that. Look that. Although I do got friends in Florida that already have access to the water. But no, I just don't think Florida would be a good idea. My hat is falling off. I should put my little. Maybe that'll help. Okay. Sorry. So she hit here, stepped up, came through, folded. I'm like giving myself like a crick in my neck from trying to look over to the side at the same time. Oh, oh. What is you right now? A little bit of sound would help me to know what she's doing next. That's okay. I kind of want to go rollerblading. The only problem with going rollerblading is the water is like 10 degrees colder than the rest of the city, in my opinion. I could be wrong. But then when you're rolling, you're also getting colder from the wind, from rolling. And I don't want to be cold. So even though it's warm outside, I don't know that it's warm enough to have rollerblading going. Because rollerblading, it's gonna take effort. I gotta put the blades on, I gotta get the stroller out, I gotta have everything going, and then you get rolling only to find out you're cold. Would be a bust. I don't really like this flow that she's got going. Because the thing about a flow for me is like going up and down doesn't really flow very much. Unless your goal is to have like cardio. To me. Honestly though, I do have to use the bathroom. So let me put some music on. Because I feel like it'll be weird if I just...
Inhale, right leg high, three-legged dog. Bend through
Three-legged dog.
Exhale, right foot.
Okay, hold up. Hopefully this is good. My bladder's about to bust. As they say in Australia, I'm busting. I'm busting. why I don't understand how females wear makeup. Because seriously, I feel like all I did was wear freaking. All I did was wear a freaking sweatshirt. And I can't. Okay, let's go back to this.
Exhale, floater, step back to check.
I went to the bathroom and I don't know, hopefully, I don't know if you could look it. I'm probably drawing more attention to it. But somehow I got makeup all over my sweater. And I'm just like, fuck. What did I do? What did I do? I'm about to do variations of whatever she thinks she's doing in a second. If I don't like what she's doing. Sometimes you just gotta take over the flow for yourself. But if she goes up and down one more time, I'm definitely just gonna do my own thing. And I'll chime into her for ideas. Oh my gosh, that is the sound of my dog making a mess. She does that from time to time. I'm just glad that she's still alive. As sad as it sounds. It's the little things. There was a couple days ago she decided that she was sick. And I honestly thought she took a shit in the bed. I woke up and there was brown goo all over the bedspread. And I was like, oh my gosh, she took a shit in the bed. And I was just like, this is so disgusting. Because, not to say, like, she's an old dog. Like, she's allowed to have accidents. But, like, she knows well enough to, like, if she's about to have an accident, like, the bed would be, like, foul. Like, that would just be foul, right? So when I saw it, I was, like, instantly grossed out, like, pissed off. So I just, like, got up and, like, got stuff to clean it or whatever. And then when I started cleaning it, I realized it was just her dog food that she had thrown up. And I was like, oh, okay. That's better. At least, she had the, like, her dog food was brown, so it just looked like shit. So I was just like, oh my gosh, like, oh, it was nasty. Oh. I think she switched sides. It's only been 30 minutes. This is not a flow I enjoy. See, this is why, like, I don't want to toot my own horn as a yoga instructor because, like, honestly, I've never had, like, a class full of people to be like, this is great. I've had kids who are obviously going to prefer what I'm doing over most PE lessons. It's not really take that, as much of a compliment. But a lot of these flows, like, to me, it's kind of like dancing or like music. Like, sometimes you can just feel when one flows, when others don't. It's like, what we just did just now, from that move to that move, that was a nice flow. I feel like I do that myself often in my own flows. That's something. This is something I don't normally do that I should do, so I'm grateful. And this is also why I like watching other people's flows, because they do different moves that I don't think about, that I should be doing. My favorite part about this DEA sweater is that I know that it says DEA on it, but I don't remember that it says DEA on it when I'm walking around. So it's just a regular sweater to me. And I'll be walking, and someone will be walking towards me, and all of a sudden their entire posture and everything switches up. And I'm like, what the fuck did I do? And then I realized they just read my sweater. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so fucking funny. It is so funny. It's funny too, the people that do switch up. Like today, it was like one of the people that switched up was like a older dude and his daughter. And he didn't look suspicious, so that's what I was like, damn, what the fuck are you on? You know, I won't get into characteristics because they definitely didn't fit the description of somebody that should have been posturing themselves in such a way. I don't want to cause any suspicions. The girl didn't seem to be... Actually, no, the girl did come up behind me rather closely and kind of like took herself behind me. But kids really like me, and I kind of just assumed that she liked my bag and she was looking at my bag. So I didn't really think too much of it. She's not doing this, but if I crick my neck up one more time just to see what's happening and she's not moved, it's like it's not a good feeling. I really grabbed my ankle. I will say that there is this guy. Actually, do I even want to say this? Tarot is funny because Tarot will tell you that there's like someone in your life that like you've met or that you know, which could easily be anybody, you know, especially me because I travel a lot and I tend to meet people when I go out and then never see them again. So it's like, it kind of leaves you wondering, like, well, who could Tarot be talking about when they suggest these people from past encounters? Because I truly only have surface level experiences with people. I think that thankfully guys have been respectful enough to recognize not to bark up my tree if they don't want to deal with it, you know what I mean? Which I respect. Go, go, go. I don't know. That's actually one of those things I feel like when it happens in the opposite direction, it's like a sexist thing. Like, girls can turn down guys, and it's almost like an empowering thing. Like, oh my gosh, that girl, that guy just hit on her, and she said no. Look, she's good for her. Like, da 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 da. But if a girl likes a guy, and a guy doesn't want to talk to her back, then it's like free reign to be like an asshole. And I don't think that's right. I do think it's weird to like pursue somebody specifically to hurt them. Like, I understand like even being like, oh, I want to hook up with this person and I hope that they don't get hurt by it, but like obviously you know they're gonna get hurt by it, but like you hope that they don't, right? But then there's like wanting to get someone's attention solely to see like what kind of reaction you can get out of them and stuff like that. Like, those are the types of things where I think of people that like didn't have enough opportunities to be a leader in their life. It's like now they finally realized how humans interact with each other, but they don't know how to function with said knowledge. It's just kind of like, yes, humans, they have responses. What did you think? Oh, look at that. I can't do what she's doing, to be fair. I'm not trying to just ramble. Whatever she's doing was not a move that I don't think I've ever been able to do. And that's just on some real shit. Real shit. Real shit. Well, opposite side now. Ooh. I don't know why she's working. I can't see her outside. She's been doing good at the beach, but today she got bored. She's definitely wanting to get up and move around. But we weren't sitting, I just found a nice log to sit on. And she likes to use my body for shade. So she was sitting in my shadow. So she was out of the sun or whatever. But the thing about her is she's too old to walk around. Like, it sounds bad, but like, when she walks around outside, she will literally spend she could spend an hour on the same block. Like, she just walks like a couple feet and then she'll start smelling that area. And she'll stay in that area for like 10-15 minutes and then she'll walk a few feet and then she'll stop, she'll start smelling, and I'm just like, okay. And I'll have to pull her, keep her really, really close to me to get her to walk. And even when I do that, she can only make it two blocks before she's actually tired and she'll lay down. So she actually does need the stroller as far as extending her time outside. I'm here. Must step on the mat on the way inside. Okay. She's on the ground doing some leg shit. I've already decided, I don't know what she's gonna do next, but I know I want to get some back work in. And I don't know for sure she's gonna do any back work, so I'm just gonna do some back work. Because my back feels tight. I'm gonna also do a little bit of alignment on my back because I was riding my bike a lot so far. Bike season has started, everybody. I haven't decided if I'm gonna do any good trails. I kind of want to, but I gotta make sure I get a really good secure basket for my dog. I bought a basket that's supposed to be it's supposed to be attached to the base of my my bike. But when I add the screws and whatever to the base of the basket, it still wiggles. And so it's just kind of well, there's no point in having it if it's gonna wiggle. That makes me feel it's not very secure. So I'm trying to find something that'll make it more secure because I don't want to have to buy a new basket. It's just the base of it. But once it's secure, then I'll feel more comfortable being off-road with the bike. Because if I go over a really big bump, I don't want to have to worry about my dog popping off the side. She definitely tried to I don't think she was going to try and climb out of the basket, but she definitely got up and turned around all while I was going probably at least 20 miles per hour on my bike. And I was like, what the fuck? I was going past a bunch of hobos. So I was kind of I don't really want to slow down. This is not optimal time for this type of activity. But she survived. She survived. It just looks sketchy. It just looks sketchy. We're adventurers, though, at the end of the day. I have to be able to take her with me. And my goal is always, like, worst case scenario, like, she's small enough to put in a backpack, you know? And I can keep, like, a tote on me and, like, put her in a fucking bag. I absolutely have to. I remember one time I got stuck on ocean shores with her, and she didn't have a leash or anything. And I had this scarf, so I made like a little sling out of the scarf while I was holding her, like, to cross the street, because I was like getting so tired of holding her. So like at the crosswalk, but I just like made a sling out of it and like put her in and like went across the street and like went into the restaurant parking lot or whatever. And some car like pulled up next to me and they're like, "That was really cool what you just did." And I'm like, "What the fuck, man? Leave me alone." Fucking weirdo. Like, you basically just told me you were just watching me, and then you followed me over here. Please go. Please go. Oh my gosh. That's like one of my, like, I mean, I would say neighbor if we were like super close, but we were like on opposite sides of the corner, like literally kitty corner of the street. And I was walking my dog, like just walking by, and this lady like stops me and she's like, "I just want you to know I love your outfits." And I was like, "Who are you? Where have you been seeing me?" It was so I mean, I know she meant it from a good place, but the fact that I had never seen her before and she was commenting on outfits with an S, so she had been seeing me, and I was just like, "What the fuck?" It just made me like hella paranoid, like walking around the neighborhood, like this bitch is looking at my outfits, and I've never even seen her before. What are the creeps doing? Oh my goodness. Oh, this feels nice. But I mean, to be fair, I know that I have good fashion sense, so I can see how I would draw attention, but I really don't like at all here. There's nowhere to go. Like, what am I wearing? What outfits? The outfits I wear to walk my dog equals sweatpants, yoga pants, freaking occasionally shorts. I don't know. Basically my TikTok wardrobe, which is unfortunate because if you didn't know any better and you saw my TikTok wardrobe, you would think all I owned were sweatpants. Oh, this is such a good stretch for me because it stretches like the top of my foot all the way through my ankle and my hips and my quads and my knee. And I don't have to do anything to just lay here. Consider that. Consider that. Like imagine you just go to a park, right? And you're like, "Oh, like this is a nice day to just like sit out on the park," and you're already gonna sit out on the park, right? And then you get there and there's a group of people doing yoga and it doesn't look hard, It's just like basic yoga stretches, and they're like, oh yeah, you should just join us. Like, would you do it? Why not, right? You're already gonna be sitting there and they're just doing yoga. That's how I feel. Like, what's the worst? What is there to lose? What is there to lose in that situation? It's like, oh no, I don't want someone to take my spot on the beach of beachness. You know, you can still be one of those. You used to be one of the chair hogging resort people that put their shit out at the butt crack of dawn, just never come back to their fucking chair. I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter. Oh gosh. Oh my goodness. Can you tell I haven't been on a vacation in a long time? But you know, like I said, living so close to the beach, I really do like low tide day feels like I went somewhere. I'm just like, oh, it's a different beach. But it was like I said, it was low tide a couple days ago. And I felt the same way, but today it was a little harder to come back inside. Also took my dog to get her nails cut. And the chick at the nail salon wasn't, or at the nail salon, at the pet place wasn't there. The one that's a bitch. So that was good. Okay, I'm gonna turn this way. I'm gonna do a couple of these lifts. Let's do 20 on each side. Switching that up a little bit. I know I said I was gonna do some back, but I'll get back to that. I'll get back to the back. She's kind of doing some of the stretches that I normally do at the beginning of my stream. So I'm not really feeling like I'm missing out on anything in particular. Here. Switching the socket. Oh. My dog is so stinking cute. And I gotta say, like, she's probably gonna have on that plushy Care Bears sweater way past the season. Because she literally feels like a little stuffed animal. Like, she already is a little stuffed animal, but now she's got like a layer of plush Care Bear. And she's like extra stuffed animal. Extra. Oh, feels so nice. Okay. Pulling it back. This is also stretching my quad and the top of my ankle and foot. On this side. Oh my goodness. Blame it on her old age. Oh, okay. Blame this on my old age. Anyways, so aside from the retreat, ultimate goal, right? Which I don't know if I ever vocalized that on stream, but that's been a goal of mine. I mean, I've had like these weird goals that like, I don't even know if it's a goal or if it's just like an idea that like, if I ever had enough money type shit. You know, because obviously certain things you could just do them if you wanted to spend the money on it and you were willing to take the risk. They have like retreat building websites where you literally just like pick a venue, pick a topic, and then allow people to sign up. And it's just a matter of if people will sign up, right? You advertise it or whatever. But if they don't, then you're out of the money. I also used to really want to make curriculum for family consumer science teachers where, you know, you have like a set of topics or whatever for a year or a unit or whatever, and then you sell your lessons to teachers, and they're worth a lot of money. People spend a lot of money on them, and when you've been teaching as long as me, you have a lot of ideas and shit. And my school that I last worked at stole all of my fucking lessons. So even if I wanted to do that, I would have to basically build everything from scratch, which would be a pain in the ass. That one's kind of out of the window. What was I gonna do next? But yeah, so there's a retreat, right? Obviously, having a venue of my own, that'd be easy as fuck to do anything, because you'd be like, oh, I'm gonna use this venue for weddings, or I'm gonna use this venue for team bonding events for corporate, or I'm gonna use this venue for, you know, night events or like community events or birthday parties or whatever the fuck, you know, depending on what kind of venue it is. Maybe it's just for hosting other people's shit. But again, investing the money in a property. I just don't want to. I don't want to have to do that here in Seattle. I'd rather be somewhere warm, where no matter what happens, I'm happy with where I live 24/7, and I'm not thinking to myself, in a couple of months, I'll be able to XYZ. Like, I want to always be able to be like, I'm gonna do that shit right now because the weather isn't holding me back. Especially when it comes to the water. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, but I have something in my eye. Oh my goodness. Okay. My bad. That's one of the things that's good about teaching, because it's like, even though teaching is, I can live, like, I live in Seattle, but weather doesn't really impact me very much, because when I am ready to go on my breaks, right, like, I can just go find the weather that I want to enjoy. Whereas here, without teaching and just having a job, like I said, if I wanted to do like outdoor, whatever the case may be, I wouldn't even be able to operate during the winter time unless I had an indoor option. I'm certainly not going to be outside when it's cold. Hail to the fuck nah! Hail to the fuck nah! But yeah, so that would be the next thing. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show you what my surprise is. I'm going to talk a little bit about it, how it ties into what I was just talking about, and like the biggest idea, which, like I said, may or may not ever come to fruition, but they're all connected. They're all connected in the end. Okay, so this is what I got, everyone. I'll start with the simple reveal. I think I mentioned that I want to get more into sound therapy. I started studying like vibration and sound, things like that in like 2000, I want to say like 16-ish. honestly started getting into it when I first started teaching food science in when we started talking about like Dr. Mazzetto or something. I don't know. I was looking whenever I teach, I try to find shit that I also want to learn. And then I figure out whether or not what I want to learn is true or not. And then if it's true, I teach the kids that it's true. If it's not true, I teach the kids why it's not true, right? And it's a win-win. So I started looking into his shit, and we started doing the experiments, and that shit was true. And so then I started getting more into like what effects like words and vibration and sound have on water and like other items and all of that, right? And that's how I kind of got more into transcendence, and we won't get any further. But basically, because I've been studying this stuff long enough to know just the combination of like psychology and placebos to know that there is some benefit to sound resonance in sound healing. But with knowledge of actual vibration and even just the visual confirmation we have of what sound and vibration has on water and things like that, there's all sorts of examples, you can look it up. Then it's just kind of like, okay, so we know like our bodies have over 70% of water. We make a sound that is going to resonate with water in our body. It's going to have an impact, and whether or not that impact is good or bad, we don't know unless we actually do more experiments, which is what I'm studying. So these are specifically designed to be attuned to certain chakras, and there's 7 of them, which, to be completely honest, I don't study chakras enough to know like the even just remedial information about chakras. And I say that because you guys know, like, if I'm gonna teach you something, I wanna feel like I know hella, so I can tell you I don't know anything, rather than say like I know something and then not really know anything. So I don't know anything about chakras, but I know there's way more than 7, and this is just gonna kind of give me the baseline of working with them. And I've always been really into color coordinating, and so it's kind of interesting, like, if you knew me from when I was a kid, and like my issue with crayons and like how chakras are set up, like there's just like all these little synchronicities in my life from it. I'm like, like I have a feeling that my connection to colors and the sequence and just like the way like prisms work and all of this stuff, like, and quantum physics and like all of this stuff that just like have always really resonated with me on like these different levels that I still can't fully understand, but like they end up being connected later. Like I think I told you guys, like I used to play instruments, and so like I do already know how to read music and stuff like that. So there's like just certain connections that I have in my head where I'm just like, that's not a normal connection, but the fact that I had that connection is significant. But yeah, so it basically looks like this, and I did pick one that was really small because I wanted to make sure that I could travel with this stuff, and I was kind of, I'm pleasantly surprised to see how big these are, these bowls, but I was also kind of under the impression that they'd be small enough that I could possibly put them in a bag and then have them on my backpack, or put them in a bag and ride my bike. These are definitely way too big. Anytime I'm going to use these, I'm going to have to drive. I'm going to have to use my wagon to get everything going and all of that. Do I want to open all of these up? You know, I wanted to do a cleansing of these before I like have them out and like have them on stream and all of that, because I wanted to make sure that I'm starting off with really good energy and I'm not like, you know, because you have to be careful with things, and I do want to respect my spiritual equipment, which this is what this is technically considered what I would be using it for, as far as cleansing is concerned. But everything is would be 100% chakra based, which I think would really help me with simplifying everything, because for me it can be very overwhelming to just be like, okay, like sound meditation or like sound therapy, like that's just a really large area, but to be like, okay, sound therapy and how it relates to chakras, now I at least have a starting point, and I can decide from here if I want to prove something or disprove something. But I know at least where I'm going to start, right? So I do have 7 of these. This is the smallest one, which I honestly thought this, in my opinion, was going to be like a medium-sized one. So I'm pretty pleased. Let me see. Okay, so basically, and I don't know if you can tell, but even my voice like instantly changes. And this is like amazing to me because, like I said, I studied this shit when I was in college a lot, and I got to actually see it live when I was working with the babies that I worked with when I was working in an infant room. So I could see like how quickly and easily like music could impact babies just as their state of mind as far as like sleep was concerned, let alone everything else. So it's like these things are very easy to prove. But when I first opened the boxes, I wanted to make sure that these weren't broken. And I knew I wasn't gonna like cleanse them or anything because I didn't want to do all of that right away. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and like cleanse, or I'm gonna like make sure that they're not cracked or anything, so I don't have to send them back. So I opened them and I just like did a little test on each of the bowls, and instantly fell asleep. I mean, I tested them, put them all right back in, and like knocked out. And if that's not a sign that they're doing something, I don't know what is. And I am so excited because, like I said, I didn't even cleanse them or anything. I just literally just went through and like tested them just like that, just like make sure that they were good, there was no issue, and then that was enough to like have an impact on my chakras, and a positive one too. So, but yeah, so part of my plan is to get these bowls singing as far as healing and chakra sound therapy is concerned, and just kind of focusing on the education and um, background of that. And not necessarily to be like, this is what you need to know about your chakras, but more or less to be like, okay, like, what are you having an issue with? This is what's tied to that. Like, this is the chakra that's tied to that thing. So this is what I'm going to focus on for your specific session. And then you can tell me whether or not it had an impact later, you know, but it's partly what you're willing to receive and partly what you're honest about, and you know what you're willing to do, all of that as well. And if nothing else, like my very first sound bath, I was at a yoga festival, and it was like right after I split from my second ex-husband, and I was just signing up for random shit because I just wanted to like get out of the house and like have stuff to do on the weekends. And so I was like, oh, okay, like it was like mostly like a girls yoga thing, which I didn't know when I signed up for. I just showed up, you know, whatever. And they had different things you could sign up for once you got inside, and one of them was a sound session, and it was just like, you know, regular day. It wasn't like super nice out, but it wasn't bad. And so it was like a field, and they had like a bunch of like you know, gongs and like different bowls and like really cool setup or whatever. But like I didn't really know what was going on. I was just like, whatever. They're like, oh yeah, it's gonna be a sound session. Like just, you know, lay your mat out and like find a place just like relax. When I tell you I woke up, like apparently over an hour later, had no idea what the fuck happened at all. Like I knocked the fuck out. And I just remember being like, what's about to happen? And they're like, oh, we're done. And I'm like, we're done? Like, so it has an impact on me, and it seems to be positive. I don't have any negative experiences. I have nothing wrong with falling asleep and feeling well rested when I get up. So, hopefully, like I said, I won't get into anything else because we don't need to make it dark. But I hope you all have a good rest of your week. Like I said, this is going to be a new endeavor, so I don't know. It is more spiritual, I want to say, but I don't want to make it like oh, it's a religious or something, because again, it's a scientific backing that there are certain frequencies that have an impact on fluids and whatever the fuck else, right? Because you just want to take it just to that aspect. There's some sort of healing you can have from sound, and therefore I want to be able to figure out how to help people with it, and even if it's just relaxing and taking a deep nap that they weren't prepared to have. But tying that in with everything else, and like I said, having my bowls with the different colors in now focus, I just need to sign up for a course, which I'm like kind of nervous about because I don't want to sign up for the wrong course and it be something that makes me lose interest, because that can happen. People sign up for things and it's unfortunately the wrong approach, or they have the wrong influences and it makes them lose interest. So that's kind of my next step. There's like a lot of online programs that I'm vetting through. I try to find some in real life or in person, hybrid, wherever, and there's like none. I mean, not to be rude, and I guess that's good for me in the future, right? When I'm ready to like launch and like have my stuff going, like what am I noticing that I would like to find that I can't find right now? And just kind of making a list of that and like that being my market. But it's also kind of like, damn, like I don't want to be that person that's just like learning everything online and not like having like a real community. But yeah, thankfully there's tools for that. Because mostly it's just tuning. Like, can you hear this sound? Is this the proper sound? And I look up a sound like A sharp on this particular thing. I have a device that will tell me whether or not that is true. At least I have one for my guitar. Hopefully it will work for bowls. I don't know, man. I'm sure there's something. I'll figure it out. Anyway, everybody, I hope you have a good rest of your weekend, whatever you're doing next. Until next time.